Saving money for a down payment on a house can be really hard. I know because we had to go through it some 16 years ago when we were buying our home. I'm going to share with you some of the strategies that we used to be able to save that'll help you in a very systematic, organized, efficient fashion. So here's the problem. If you live in California, if you live in Southern California or Northern California, the closer you are to the coast, the more expensive it is to buy. It's pretty much like that for a lot of metropolitan areas across the United States. See, what happens is in the metro areas is where the jobs are, right? So that's why people want to live closer to work. Living closer to work means homes are unaffordable or very expensive. Hawaii, Honolulu is actually like the most expensive city to buy a home in. The state of Hawaii itself, the average or the median price of a home is in like the $650,000 range. Whereas if you purchase a home in like West Virginia, the median price is about $107,000, $108,000. So it's much more affordable. Why people live where they live, why they buy houses where they buy houses has a lot to do with various factors. A lot of times it's because maybe they have friends and family that live somewhere and they want to be close by. Other times it's weather. At this current moment, there are less houses on the market than there were a year ago. So when a lot of folks are not selling their homes, what happens is there's not enough inventory, there's not enough out there. That's what drives up prices. For example, we have a home right next door to us that recently sold. In this video, what I want to do is share with you some of the strategies to save money for a down payment that you might not have considered previously. So before I share some of the strategies, what I will do is share my fun fact with you as I do in every video. So every video I do, I share a fun fact in the beginning and at the end of the video. So the fun fact for the beginning of the video is that we currently live in Rancho Cucamonga, California, which is located in San Bernardino County. The county of San Bernardino and Riverside, we call this area the Inland Empire. Before I even talk about the strategies, let me tell you what I'm really big on. See, I have a website that's called efficiencyandorganization.com, and on it I talk about how you can have systems and efficiency and organization in every aspect of life, like your personal life, if you're a student, if you have a job, in every aspect of life, including personal finances. So it's all about setting goals and then systematically, efficiently, in a good, timely manner, achieving them. If you're trying to get a house, then you have to have a very specific goal. That's like your first step. So you could say, I want to buy a home in the next 3 years. And let's say you want to buy a home for $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000, whatever it is. You figure out how much you need. And that's going to be your goal within that length of time. On efficiencyandorganization.com, I have a form and you download it. It's a SMART goal form, and I'll have the link for sure down in the description box that you could see for downloading. And what you do is you say, I will save $30,000 in the next 3 years, or I will save $30,000 in the next 5 years. Depends on what you're capable of doing based on your income. Once you have that goal that's like realistic, attainable. So for example, if you're working, you have a job that doesn't pay all that well, and you're saying, oh, I want to save $200,000 in the next 2 years. That might not be so realistic. So what you want to do is have a realistic number and a realistic deadline for when you can achieve that financial goal. And then come up with the action plans, like how are you going to make that happen? This is where I'm going to share the strategy with you, the action steps. One of the things we did was we cut cable completely. This was like back in 2005, 2006, and that saved us. For example, our cable bill now is about $130. So think about it, even if it was $100, Not having cable for 1 year, that's $1,200 savings. So nowadays, now that they have like streaming services that only cost $10, $12, I'd probably say get that instead of cable, because that'll help save a lot of money over the course of 1, 2, 3 years that you could put towards that account, the savings account for a down payment. Next strategy. We tend to go on a big family vacation every year. But when we were saving to buy a home, we did none of that. We made sure that our trips were gonna be like $400 or $500 or less. So we did a lot of small trips, like things where we would stay like 1 day or 1 night, 2 nights somewhere, and that we would have to drive to, and that helped us save a lot of money. Another strategy. For the holidays, like around Christmas especially, for coworkers, for friends, if you're like me, you love giving gifts. I love giving Christmas gifts. But maybe what you need to do for that period of time that you set in your financial goal to save, you have to do much smaller gifts, maybe cards. I knew a lady who said that she was trying really hard to save money this 1 year. She decided to make cookies for all her friends and family. So she went and bought cards, and she made cookies, put them in little plastic containers like that she got from the Dollar Tree. And her friends and family understood that for just a couple of years, she was on a tight budget because she had a major financial goal to fulfill. Downsizing. That's another big one. So when we were trying to save for our house, we lived in an apartment that had no central air. It had no dining room area. So it was just where we had the sofas placed, and then the kitchen and the bedroom. It was very small, but we managed because we had this 2-year goal that within 2 years we're gonna save enough to have a down payment to be able to buy a house. So yes, downsizing, it's gonna be super uncomfortable, but it's temporary, because once you have the savings, once you accomplish your goal and you get your home, it's gonna feel so good. The other thing that I know some of our neighbors do is they have their grown children move in with them, and they don't even charge them rent. They just say, you know what, you can use a room, stay there. There's a restroom nearby. That could be your restroom. Just make sure you keep it clean. And all the money that you both earn, you could save. That way you have enough in the next 1, 2, 3 years to buy a home. That's kind of, in my opinion, an extreme option. I wouldn't like that because I like my privacy. But if you're able to give up a little bit of privacy to be able to live with family and save, that's going to make a huge difference on how much you could save and how much time to be able to collect enough for a down payment. Besides transportation, one of the top things that we as Americans spend the most money on each year is food and drink. That's a big place to save. For example, if you say, I'm only going to eat out, bring food from outside once a week. The rest of my meals, I'm just going to prepare at home. I'm going to learn and I'm going to prepare at home. You could save $25 or more per week doing that. In 1 year, if you calculate over 52 weeks, that's $1,300. That's huge. Then over a course of 3 years, that ends up being almost $4,000 that again you could put towards a down payment. I have more strategies and ideas. You can look at the article that I wrote recently on saving money to buy a home. It is on the website. I will have the link below. And before I go, what I'm going to do is share my second fun fact with you. When we bought our home in 2006, the prices of homes were very high. We looked at the school districts because we didn't have our kids at the time. What we decided to do was to buy in our city in Rancho Cucamonga specifically because of the schools. They have very good schools, very reputable schools. So we said, yeah, we want to buy here even though it's more expensive than the neighboring cities. We looked at safety and we looked at the schools. Those were like the top 2 things for us. And actually a lot of people look for that. When they're trying to start families, that's what they look for. So that's one of the reasons why we bought when we bought. So again, check out the article because it'll have more strategies on there. Thank you for being with me, and I will catch you in the next video.